Welcome one, welcome all to Max's Mic. I'm Max and I have the mic, and today's episode will be all about the 2025 NFL free agency. Going to be breaking down what has transpired so far, contract signings, how that has affected a team positively or negatively. Not going to go through all of them, but going to go through by position the ones that really stick out to me, the ones that I would like to talk about, and I'm going to share my thoughts on them. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to start on the offensive side with the quarterbacks, starting with Sam Darnold signing to the Seahawks, 3 years, 100.5 million dollars. Quite intrigued, but he had an incredible season last year, and this really feels like more of the prove it year than last year, because a lot of people talked about last year being a prove it year, having gotten the opportunity to start. However, it seems like many have forgotten the idea that there's potential for a system quarterback to be a thing. And so now Sam Darnold has the opportunity to prove that he is truly back, and it's not just a system quarterback type thing. And he just thrived in the fact that the Vikings had an incredible system surrounded by having the best receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson, having an incredible running back, Aaron Jones, having a great O-line, just a great offense in general, and a really good defense. So this is I feel that this is really finally the prove it year. Is he really back, or was it just that the Vikings scheme is really good and they just needed a competent quarterback in place? So intrigued to see how Sam Darnold does. Intrigued to see how the Seahawks team bounces back and adjusts, as there's a lot of pieces missing, as this is a real downgrade offensively from that Vikings offense that he was running with. So I'm intrigued to see how they go, and I'm also curious to see how the offensive play style might change now, as you do have Sam Darnold, who can throw the ball around a bit, but the receivers, on the other hand, not so much. So I'm curious to see if they slide into a more run-heavy and use the fact that they've got Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, two solid running backs, and maybe run a two running back scheme. Moving on, next quarterback that's really caught my eyes, Justin Fields. 2 years, $40 million to the Jets. I really thought that Fields could have signed with the Giants. I considered Fields to the Giants. I thought the Giants should go get him. Other New York team, that being the Jets, went out and grabbed them. Fields, another quarterback who I think really does have the potential to be a solid quarterback. Not like a top-end quarterback, but a solid middle of the road, your 16th, 17th, 18th ranked, a quarterback that could guide you to a playoff. I really think that he can do that, and he has the ability to. I'm just curious to see what he does with this Jets team. So, 2 years, $40 million. The money a little lower than I would have expected, but then again, it does seem a little fitting. Going to run through some quick signings. Mariota re-signing with the Commanders. Mason Rudolph going back to the Steelers. Mac Jones to the Niners. Jacoby Brissett to the Cardinals. And Daniel Jones is now in Indianapolis. Are the last real big ones that are catching my eye as it pertains to the quarterbacks. Still to come, Rodgers, Wilson, two guys that are on the board. Jameis Winston, another guy that's kind of there that could be interesting to see where he goes. But Rodgers and Wilson, two guys that I'm really curious to see what they're going to end up doing. And I don't know, it's just going to be intriguing, as I also think that depending on where they go could affect the draft, as if either of them signs, any of those three, or even Joe Flacco that's still available, any of them goes to the Giants or the Browns or even the Titans maybe too, could affect the team's motivations to draft a quarterback, especially in the first round. I don't think that should the Giants get a guy like Rodgers or Flacco, probably very good chance wouldn't affect their decision to or not to draft a quarterback in the first round, but definitely would incentivize them to take a quarterback later. Russell, honestly, even two, the Giants could be a team that still takes a quarterback at 3. On the other hand, the Titans and the Browns, it's interesting. They could have an impact signing any of these 4 quarterbacks that I previously named, again, Rodgers, Wilson, Winston, Flacco. Intrigued, but I'm also quite intrigued that, again, there are these 3 teams that have top picks that, maybe not the Giants, but the Browns and Titans. There's not been too much news about the Titans, but definitely the Browns have been hunting in free agency to find a quarterback. And it's surprising that they had the opportunity to take a quarterback, but I guess that clearly shows that these quarterbacks in this draft are not that good, especially compared to past years. Moving on to the running backs, we've got Aaron Jones re-signing with Minnesota, 2 years, $20 million. Not a big surprise there. Najee Harris, though, I'm a little surprised with this one. I thought he might stay, or, I anticipated kind of that there is a solid chance he goes to a different team, but not the team that he went to. As he signed with the Chargers, a 1-year, $9.25 million contract. And I'm quite surprised as J.K. Dobbins remains unsigned, and I really expected him to sign theirs. Both J.K. Dobbins and Nick Chubb, 2 running backs remaining unsigned. Both running backs injury prone, but yet when healthy are quite good. So I guess and Gus Edwards is a third guy. 3 guys that are kind of been injury prone or have had injuries or substantial injuries within the last season or two. So I believe that is why they haven't signed yet, but 3 guys that could be solid staples within a running game. Now we've got 2 Dallas Cowboys signings, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, as Rico Dowell's going to the Panthers. So Sanders and Rico Dowell flipping homes. Kareem Hunt's going to re-sign with Kansas City. Not too surprised with that. And that's about it right now for the running backs. So not really surprised about the Kareem Hunt re-signing. He's played quite well in Kansas City and has just worked in a 1-year, $1.5 million. Rico Dowell not sticking with the Cowboys, a little surprising. And then the Cowboys deciding to go out getting Miles Sanders, a former Eagle, and Javonte Williams, putting him on a prove-it. Both of them really on prove-it deals. So now you've got 2 pretty decent running backs. I'm curious to see what they do with the 2 of them. Let's get over to the wide receivers. You got Godwin re-signing with the Buccaneers, 3 years, $66 million. Not too surprised about that. Cooper Kupp, we heard from him that he was informed that he was going to be traded. Well, that didn't happen. He ended up getting cut, and he goes and signs with the Seahawks, 3 years and $45 million. And now with that vacant hole, what do the Rams do? Well, 2 years, $46 million contract goes to Davante Adams. Intrigued, kind of surprised, but really feel like Cooper Kupp is a solid route running guy, but not really too much of a deep threat. Whereas Davante Adams is more of a deep threat, and Puka Nacua's got you covered in those short to mid range with his great route running skills. So I'm not really surprised by this move, as it was something that I would make personally, is to go out and get a more of a deep threat option in Davante Adams over Cooper Kupp. DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to sign a 1-year, $5 million to go with Baltimore. Big signing, and I'm curious to see how he molds into that Baltimore offense that could see him get a lot more action than he has been getting the last season. And I do think that he's not done just yet. Marquise Brown resigns with Kansas City, 1 year up to $11 million. Darius Slayton resigns to the New York Giants for 3 years and $36 million. Why? Don't understand this. There's a lot of really good receivers in this draft class. If you want to go young, there's a lot of cheap options that you could get that, honestly, in my opinion, are just as good. Don't understand or like it. He's really not a standout great receiver. No. Why? Don't like it. Mike Williams, he's going to go back to the Chargers. And, well, the Chargers need a lot of receiving help, especially now as Joshua Palmer leaves. He's going over to the Bills. So the Bills are looking to try and improve their receiving core that, still needs help. Any other major signings? Nick Westbrook-Ikine now signs with the Dolphins. So the Titans are in need of a receiver. Tyler Lockett was cut, and he's still around. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. I'm curious to see where he goes, as I still think that he could be a dynamic change of pace player. Tutu Atwell resigns with the Rams. Juju Smith-Schuster resigns with Kansas City. Noah Brown, he resigns with Washington. MVS goes to Seattle. He's been bouncing around all over the place. And Matt Collins goes to the Patriots. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Van Jefferson, though, goes to the Titans. So the Titans do get a receiver, although there's definitely some better options than Van Jefferson, but that's who y'all got. Okay, cool. And De'Ami Brown to Jacksonville Jaguars. Now let's look at some guys that haven't signed yet that I think really could be game changers. I mentioned Tyler Lockett. I wouldn't put him in the game changer, but some bigger name guys. Deontay Johnson hasn't signed yet, and I'm curious to see what happens to him. Keenan Allen hasn't signed yet, and I think that he could really be have a big time impact in the positive way on a lot of offenses in this league. Giants, Bills, Titans, Patriots. I don't know, the Browns could also use him back. Two more guys, former Bills, that are not signed are Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs. Two guys that I also think that can have a big impact now. Diggs coming off of an injury. Amari Cooper, quite shaky season. Granted, he started the season with the Browns, in which his target share and receptions really weren't there. Or he was getting quite good targets, but he wasn't able to, receive them. Had some issues with hands and dropping some passes. Also, a lot of the passes just weren't there. He wasn't able to really connect with Deshaun as he had kind of hoped. So, and then he goes over to the Bills, and it really took him some time to mesh and form in, and it didn't even really feel like, even as the season ran on and concluded, that he really found a home within that offense. So those are some receivers. Over to the tight ends, nothing too crazy to talk about. Juwan Johnson resigns with the Saints. Mike Gesicki resigning with the Bengals. Zach Ertz resigning with the Commanders. Austin Hooper resigning with the Patriots. It's just a bunch of resignings. However, one big move that has surprised me is Evan Ingram. He's now a Denver Bronco. The Denver Broncos made some big moves, especially more on the defensive side, that we are going to get into, and they're making a push. Sean Payton is going to have a really solid team to coach this upcoming season, and what they are in the draft, they've got the potential to really turn the season around and really make a decision on which side do they want to bolster. I think there's great potential for a Bo Nix sophomore surge, and it all starts with getting a solid tight end in Evan Ingram. He's not a top of the end league, but he's a solid guy that can get the job done. Looking at some offensive tackles. Now we're going to move over to the offensive tackle region, and nothing too crazy. Dan Moore Jr. to the Titans, 4 years, $82 million. That was a big signing. Jalen Moore to Kansas City, so they're improving, or trying to at least improve their offensive line that does need a lot of help. Ronnie Stanley, he re-signs with Baltimore, 3 years, $60 million. So some teams making some moves, getting some upgrades. Interior offensive line now, and here's where a lot of big moves and changing of guards has taken place. And Drew Dahlman, he's going to the Chicago Bears. They're looking to improve things around Caleb Williams and make him feel a little better, a little more comfortable in the pocket, and hopefully give him some more time to make some throws. You got Will Fries signing with the Minnesota Vikings. So both Vikings upgrading their O-line, making Aaron Jones' life a little easier, hopefully, with the hope of doing that, as well as also possibly providing J.J. McCarthy or whoever the quarterback is going to be. There's talks that they could still go out and sign a bigger name guy, as J.J. might not be start ready. Kevin Zeitler, he's going over to the Tennessee Titans. Mekhi Becton signs a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Chargers. So the Chargers upgrading their offensive line, and I really think that the Chargers are going to be even more legit next season. And for the offensive line, that's about it, the real big one. Some other teams, the Giants had gone out. They had gotten some upgraded guys. Bears have also made some moves. So a lot of changing of the guards. However, a team that really hasn't done a lot in this offensive line market that I'm quite surprised with is the Chiefs. Chiefs have taken a real big hit, and quite surprised that they're really not doing too much in this offensive line market, as they are desperate. They desperately need offensive line help. Now let's go over to the defense. We're going to start with the edge rushers. We'll start with Khalil Mack re-signing a 1-year, $18 million deal with the Chargers. Josh Sweat, he signs a 4-year, $76.4 million deal with the Cardinals. Hassan Reddick, he's heading to Tampa Bay to the Buccaneers. Chase Young re-signing with the Saints on a 3-year, $51 million. And one move that really did surprise me is that the Bills cut Von Miller, so Von Miller is still around, and they go out and they get Joey Bosa, a 1-year, $12.6 million deal. That's really huge upgrade. I think that he's still got it, and that's going to be a big help. Azeez Ojulari joining the list of former Giants to join the Eagles as he signs a 1-year, $4 million deal with the defending Super Bowl champions. DeMarcus Lawrence heads over to Seattle on a 3-year, $32.49 million deal. Two guys that I'm quite surprised still aren't signed. Zadarius Smith, I'm kind of surprised. I think he's still got it. And Matthew Judon, two guys that are nearing the end of their careers. But I still think that both of them can be dynamic players within a defensive line. Quite surprised that they haven't signed Chauncey Golston. He signs with the Giants on a 3-year, $19.5 million deal. So the Giants kind of are trying to replace Azeez Ojulari. Leonard Floyd, 1-year, $10 million deal with the Falcons. And the Falcons, they need some help defensively as well. So some interesting moves. Definitely a bunch of other moves. Not going to bore you by going through all of them, but just kind of reading off some moves and giving some takes. And now we go to the interior defensive line, and this is where things get exciting as, well, it was a lot of fun trying to figure out where Milton Williams was going to go, as Milton Williams all of a sudden skyrockets his worth after that incredible Super Bowl performance. And it seemed like, and it was reported that he was going to go to the Panthers, and that was going to be a huge signing and really bolster that Panthers defense. And the Panthers, I was about to come on my mic and start saying, hey, watch out. This team's going to be real good. But no, that's not what happens. That is not at all what happened. Instead, he ends up signing a 4-year, $104 million deal with the Patriots. So now I'm on my mic telling you, watch out, because the Patriots just got a great defensive interior lineman, and they still have so much more money to spend. This is out of this world that the Patriots just went 4 years, $104 million, and they still probably have so much more money to spend. They can still go out and get some really great guys. Just whoa, wow, okay. That came out of nowhere. Moving on, Javon Hargrave signs with the Vikings. And Jonathan Allen also signing with the Vikings. So the Vikings looking to give Brian Flores some more pieces to build up his defense. So this Vikings team, there's some questions offensively, but defensively, they were really good. They were quite good last year, but I think they could be really good this year and moving forward. BJ Hill's going to sign with the Cincinnati Bengals. They need some help on the defensive interior. They also got Tedarrell Slayton. So the Cincinnati Bengals signing some interior defensive linemen, and now it makes me think, maybe are they not going to draft an interior defensive lineman? I know I've had them in a lot of mocks taking Walter Nolan, and, well, you're going to have to stay tuned. Coming out in a few days, I'll have another mock draft coming out, so you'll have to see what I think and where they're going to go with that pick, if they're going to stick with him or not. And just looking around, some other Sebastian Joseph Day, he's going to re-sign with the Titans. Greg Gaines, he's going to re-sign with the Buccaneers. So some other guys going to re-sign quite a bit. Signings, the Patriots making some moves, though. Big moves with Milton Williams. Quite surprising. No real guys still left on the board that I'm too in awe about. But really, really surprised with Milton Williams. Really, that came out of nowhere. As it really just felt like he was going to the Panthers. And then all of a sudden, ripped away. Moving on, we got the linebackers, and here's where some of the fun comes in. Starting with, well, first, CJ Mosley is still available. Really curious where he goes. Jerome Baker, too. Two guys that I'm quite excited to find out where they're going to go. Ernest Jones is going to re-sign with the Seahawks. Jamian Sherwood, he's going to re-sign with the Jets. Robert Spillane, 3 years, $37 million to the New England Patriots. They are making money moves. Here's another money move that they go out and they make. Denzel Perryman will re-sign with the Chargers. But the big move, and here's where the Denver Broncos come back into play. Dre Greenlaw, who's been injured this past season. 3 years, $31.5 million to the Denver Broncos. Dre Greenlaw, a great locker room personality who's also really solid on the field, going to the Broncos, and this Broncos team is going to be legit. We could be seeing a new changing of the guards in the NFL, as the AFC West could be seeing the fall of the Chiefs and the rise of the Broncos or the Chargers or maybe even the Raiders with Pete Carroll at the head coach, Geno Smith. They've got the potential to draft Ashton Jeanty. Yeah, there's potential for some major changing of the guards. Granted, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, so we'll see. But AFC West going to be exciting to watch next season. Now to the cornerbacks, and this is where a lot of fun gets going. So we have Carlton Davis III, who I thought the Lions really should and needed to re-sign. He's going to sign with the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots, they're making money moves. 3 years, $60 million. So what did the Detroit Lions do? Well, they go and get DJ Reed. 3 years and $48 million. A very similar player. I think that Carlton Davis is slightly better than DJ Reed. Could be proven wrong this season. Probably will. Never know. But DJ Reed a lot cheaper. And I fumbled on Carlton Davis's name because I was too busy looking at the next guy I want to talk about, which is Charvarius Ward to the Indianapolis Colts for 3 years, $60 million. Charvarius Ward, another solid cornerback, going to the Colts. That I'm quite surprised about. So, what's really big, though, and the bigger news is less about the fact that I'm surprised that he's gone there and more surprised about the fact that San Francisco has now lost another major piece of their defense. And it just feels like all of San Francisco's better players are now bye-bye, gone. And they haven't really done too much, if anything, really, this offseason. They traded away Debo. And now they've lost Charvarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, and a slew of other players. And it's just like, this could be the fall of the Niners. We started to see them take a backseat last season. Some people were thinking that they could rebound this season, but free agency not proving so. Byron Murphy's going to re-sign with the Vikings. Not too surprised there. Some guys that are still around: Kendall Fuller, Asante Samuel Jr., Rasul Douglas. 3 corners that a little surprised. Some guys on the older side: Stephon Gilmore still around and could be a difference maker. Darius Slay, signs a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Eagles cut Darius Slay, and it's kind of about time. He's moving on. Darius Slay is still really good, still a solid corner. Big play Slay, still a solid corner, but Eagles kind of felt time time to move on. You can't really, after coming off of the squad that they had, you got to be business oriented and understand that you can't spend all this money to keep re-signing all these guys. So it's time to move on from Darius Slay. You've also got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So there's not really too much room, as I think that those two guys could easily be your 1-2 corners, and I don't think Darius Slay is really a 3 corner. So he moves on to the Steelers, who desperately needed the cornerback help. Paulson Adebo is going to sign with the Giants on a 3-year, $54 million. Nate Hobbs to the Packers, 4-year, $48 million. So the Packers getting another injury-prone corner. Jonathan Jones to the Commanders. So the Commanders looking to build things up, build up their secondary. Shaquille Griffin's still available. Chidobe Awuzie as well. So 2 more guys that I think could make a difference. And finally, we'll move to the safeties. Iafatu Melifanu signs with the Dolphins on a 1-year, $4 million. Jason Pinnock to the Niners. So there you go, Niners. You got someone, Javon Holland. He's going to sign with the Giants on a 3-year, $45.3 million. Another big move. This one, not the Patriots, but the Broncos. The Broncos and the Patriots, my top 2 teams for the best free agencies. 2 teams making big money moves. Here's the Broncos getting a former Niner in Talanoa Hufanga. 3 years, $45 million. Big signing there for the Broncos, really bolstering their team. And I think that they could go and win the AFC West. I really think that they can. Jeremy Chin, he's going to sign with the Raiders. Elijah Molden to the Chargers. Andre Cisco signs with the Jets. Trayvon Morig, big signing for the Panthers on a 3-year, $51 million deal. Justin Reed to the Saints. And so those are my big standout. One more. I'll talk about Xavier Woods to the Titans. So the Titans going and getting a safety. DeMar Hamlin re-signs with the Bills. Kind of a little surprised Quandre Diggs is still around. Curious to see where he goes. But this is kind of where I'm going to wrap things up. So big money moves made by my 2 favorites to be the winners and the top teams coming out of free agency, that being the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. Those are the 2 teams that I've got to say, probably hands down, the top 2 guys as it pertains to having won this free agency. Really not really surprised, not really surprised by how much money they've spent, but the players that they got. I'm a little surprised of how much money that the Broncos spent. Not really surprised about the Patriots, but I'm surprised at the guys that they got, Milton Williams and Carlton Davis, especially for the Patriots. Surprised that they got both of those guys, as I did not expect that those guys would go to the Patriots. And then as it pertains to the Broncos, really surprised that they were able to get both Hufanga and Greenlaw, snag them away from the Niners, and wasn't expecting Evan Ingram to all of a sudden be around, but he was, and the Broncos got him. So that's where I'm at. Those are my thoughts as of right now. Still waiting to see on where Rodgers and Russ will go, the top 2, as well as running backs J.K. Dobbins and Nick Chubb. Those are my big 4 guys that I am waiting on and anticipating to see where they sign. And so with that said, if you want to see my reactions to where those guys eventually do sign, probably depending on where they go, but very likely I'll be making an Instagram post. Max is Mike on Instagram. You can check me out there. A lot more content going to be coming out. If you like this video, want more of this content, like and let me know in the comment section. If you want me to do something different with these style contents, do a different video, let me know in the comment section. Also, if you did enjoy and want to see more, hit the subscribe button. We got a lot more content coming out, a lot more mock drafts in baseball season. getting on their way, as well as March Madness coming up as well. The NCAA D1 men's tournament. So my picks for that, as well as my mock draft 3, will be coming out later this week. Stay tuned for those. Until then, take care. Have a great day. Goodbye.